But Estrada describes El Infierno as an allegorical satire, comedy, farce, and tragedy all rolled into one, but it was never, he insists, intended to be taken as realism.
Guess who's coming for the holidays?
Hey kids, it's me, Kevin Smith, and I got an announcement for you.
I wanted to recommend a new movie. Well, it's not a new movie. It's actually from 2010 and it's from Mexico. It is in Spanish. It's almost 3 hours long. You can take breaks. It is on Netflix. The movie is called Hell, Infierno. And it is by writer, director, auteur Luis Estrada. I also did a review on his film, Herod's Law, that you can find here on the channel. Now, like Herod's Law, Estrada goes after the corruption, the violence that is happening in current day Mexico 2010, just like it did in 1949 with Herod's Law. Herod's Law was set in 1949. So like both films, they are a symbol of what Mexico is in that moment, for better or for worse. Unlike Herod's Law, Hell, Infierno, is a shockingly entertaining film about a man who comes back from the States and becomes a drug dealer. There's comedy, there's a little bit of romance and sex, harsh language, and violence. These characters are fascinating. Our lead character is played by the incredible actor Damian Alcázar. He plays El Benny, and Benny comes back and he finds out, spoilers times, that his brother, who is a narco, has been killed. And he hasn't been back in years. And his best friend, El Cochiloco, is played by Joaquin Cosio. Amazing actor. He's been in Narcos. He's been in all kinds of stuff. Takes him on. And at first, Benny just wants to make enough money to take care of his mom and then get out of Dodge. Right? He's still a good man. And at the end, he's not. I do not want to spoil the last part of this film, but I can tell you it is entertaining as it is shocking, as it is informative, as it is brutal, as it is funny.
Looking for an innovative way to advertise your new film, comic book, or novel? Consider the Latino Slant. Inquire now.
The music, the soundtrack is incredible. You have artists from Chalino to Los Lobos that do this soundtrack, which is a lot of norteño songs. The cast is a stable of actors that director Luis Estrada uses in all of his films. And as I'm tunneling back, because I had never seen his movies before, I am seeing that it is Luis Estrada that is the voice of Mexico, not Guillermo del Toro, not Alfonso Cuarón, not Iñárritu, because Estrada never left Mexico. Estrada is so enamored and frightened and pissed and angry at Mexico, its politicians, its drug lords, the apathy, and yet is so in love with its people. And again, he blew me away with this film. I love Herod's Law from 1999. To me, because it was further back in time, it didn't grab me like it grabbed me in a different way as to Hell, which is set in 2010. That the year of 2010 is commemorating the 200th anniversary of Mexico's independence or something like that. It's in line with that. So there's something much more relevant in the news in current Mexico, obviously with hell, than there was in the other ones. But they're all about this history of what Mexico is, and it's so important, especially if you're into American and Mexican history. These films are great with that. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing that Estrada does that Hollywood can't do. He can entertain the shit out of you. He can make you laugh while he's telling you a message. And in the vein of like great gangster films that can just be, very violent, very crude, this has a lot of humor, and this has he, as much comedy as there is in hell, he takes those moments and stops. He almost stops the music. He almost holds your breath for those dramatic, just terrorizing scenes. So, yeah, what I want to do is bring up 2010. So that's my review on the film Hell. But I wanted to bring up a 2010 article, so you guys, and I will have it in the video description, because I want you guys to get a taste of what Luis Estrada was able to capture. And there's a couple of great lines here with that. And they were talking about they talk about the success of the film, but here we go. The film's director, Luis Estrada, co-writer, says his initial inspiration came from opening a newspaper one morning 4 years ago, and to read about it, a group of gunmen rolling 5 severed heads onto a nightclub dance floor, along with a note about divine justice. He said it was something that screamed out a line that had been crossed, he says, stressing that things have gotten much worse since then. Dante Alighieri wrote about the 9 circles of hell. The question we are all asking now: in which circle have we reached, and how much further have we got to go? And that's Infierno right there, guys. That's Infierno right there. He further says, the important thing for me to show some of the complexity of the phenomenon, he says, including humanizing the killers. It is not a problem about good guys versus bad guys like the government says. Now, here's the thing also, too, that I didn't mention. The government didn't want this movie done. Duh. Right? Like with a lot of his films. I'm gonna read a little bit more, and then we can wrap it up. Culiacan resident Jose Gonzalez, whose cousin was kidnapped and killed by gunmen, said he loved the film. We identified with it, he said. You see, this is what we are living in Mexico today. Remember what we were talking about earlier, guys? About that actor being ashamed and that this was not Mexico. It is. It is, man. That's proof right here. But Estrada describes El Infierno as an allegorical satire, comedy, farce, and tragedy all rolled into one. But it was never, he insists, intended to be taken as realism. A lot of people seem to think that they're watching a documentary, he says. That's why I'm particularly keen to find out how it's viewed in the rest of the world, where there isn't as much noise from reality. Well, I'm going to leave that there. I suggest you check out the film Infierno. I don't want to just do streams where I'm just crapping on everything. I really enjoyed it. Let's say hello to